Happy Friday. Today's the day. Today's the end of the week. We're excited to look back and see what we did, what we've learned, what we've applied, what are the small details that we've changed or shifted, all those things inside of the discovery stack. But first, let's talk about CRM. Follow up is a topic that we'll continue to go down and get really into the weeds and the details about what we do each and every single prospect that we encounter. And do we do it in a systematic and do we have a framework, systematic approach? And do we have a framework around how we do things? There's really two, I would say, all right, there's two ends of the spectrum completely. We are inside of an agency that has a completely built out follow up process that you adhere to and you simply follow along with and you do your job and you clean up your dashboard or you clean up your list or whatever the framework is inside of the agency. And the other side of that is there's really not one that's discussed or defined, or there was a document that you were given when you were hired and there's been no accountability or follow up from the agency leader to hold you accountable to that. And you kind of just been left on your own and maybe use a notebook on your desk or whatever. Neither are wrong, right? And as you've heard me say many times, there's no right or wrong inside of this game. There's just movement, actions, and certainty and clarity based upon what we do. The end result of this whole conversation today is going to be you getting clear on what your follow-up process is. When I say your follow-up process, there may be one in the agency, but I want you to understand exactly what that is. And maybe you've never seen it. Maybe you don't know what it looks like for you. Maybe you don't know how many days you make phone calls until you X date that thing. Maybe you're unclear on that. Maybe you're super clear on that. And all of a sudden today's task becomes very simple. But there's nothing wrong with knowing what's going to happen each and every single day, putting it down so you can see it, and then ingest it so you understand what it is. Whether it's day 2, you make a phone call. Day 3, you do this text. There's all these caveats that could exist inside of sales that sometimes throws us off our process because we allow it to, instead of just sticking to the game that we are designed to stick to. For example, if we have follow-up plans inside of our agencies, and let's say we quote someone today's Friday, and day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 are phone calls inside of whatever CRM we use, or we use a notebook, or we pull it out of thin air. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me right now. What happens if someone sets an appointment on Friday next week? Do we make those phone calls? Yes or no? Again, it's just clarity. The last thing I want for you is to have to decide what you're supposed to do, right? I don't want that for you. That creates anxiety. I want you to be able to understand exactly what you're supposed to do each and every single time so you can move with certainty and move on to the next one and be clear and feel like you're doing your job well. Sometimes when we are left to our own device, we don't know what to do, and then we question ourselves, is it the right thing to do? And ultimately, shouldn't be responsible for that. But let's say you are. Let's take ownership and develop what that looks like. And let's just look at 2 weeks. Okay? What is your follow-up process over a 2-week period? Specifically, we're talking about emails, text, phone calls, any other sort of outreach that maybe you figured out on Wednesday, like maybe that's inside of the game now for you. Like if I look at it from a prospect perspective, let's say that we talk to someone today, they say whatever they say, and we can't overcome the objection. Does that include a scheduled text at the end of this day that thanks them for the opportunity? I don't know, maybe. Does that include a phone call on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and maybe a text and maybe an email? Does that include X, Y, and Z? I don't know, maybe. I'm not here to tell you exactly what to do. I'm here to give you a space to showcase what your system is inside of your declaration today. So when you get done with this video, you're simply going to go into whatever you're using and see if you can see what your follow-up process is. And I want you to close your eyes and ask yourself, do I adhere to this with 100% certainty every single time? Or am I taking it upon myself to decide what to do? Which then creates the possibility of responsibility for you. Like I said, it's all sort of salespeople. If your agency owner is a really dialed in, detailed person, male or female, doesn't matter. And they say, guys, look, this is how we talk. This is our script, if you will, or our framework for our sales calls, which includes liability, building rapport, liability, and closing the deal or whatever. These are our metrics that we must achieve every single day, outbound calls, whatever. These are the processes post-quoting that we follow. These are the processes post-quoting for X dating that we follow, whatever those details are. If you don't want to have excuse me, you don't have anxiety or concern for your position, all you do is follow it. That's it. Like, let's say you follow everything to 100% certainty and compliance, and then you're hitting a wall, you're in a rut or whatever. That's when you become coachable. If you're doing everything that we ask you to do and you're not finding success, there's two things here. I can either coach you on specific details inside the process, certain ways that you say things, certain tonality, all of those things, or I have you in the wrong seat. Because if we have a good built out process that we know works and is repeatable and everyone can technically come in and do it, but yet you can't find success inside that process, it simply may not fit your personality, and which is the culture of the agency, right? Or maybe you're a service person. Like it's just the truth. Doesn't mean we don't love you. Doesn't mean you're not amazing. But like if I was tasked to go be a house cleaner, this is completely random. It just came to my mind. I would suck at it. I would stuff everything in the closets and I would say, look, the floor's clean, until my wife opens up the closets and all of a sudden I'm in trouble. Because it's not a position for me. My personality does not apply to house cleaning. Now I'll pick up the shit, but not a good house cleaner. Because I like to move. I like to do other things. So inside the declaration today, I want you to showcase your system. What is your system for 2 weeks? 10 business days. What does that look like? And then I want you to ask yourself in the form, do I follow this with 100% certainty, yes or no? And if the answer is no, why? What are the scenarios that you create in your mind that allow you to not follow the process? Like, this is honest time. Maybe you hate your follow-up process in your agency and you just are disgruntled and you're not wanting to speak the truth. I would challenge you to say your truth is always valid. That doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't mean they have to listen to it. Like this whole world where we live in where everyone has an opinion. You're correct. Everyone does have an opinion. I don't have to give a shit about everyone's opinion. That doesn't mean I don't like you. That doesn't mean I don't respect your opinion. I just don't agree with it or care to listen to it anymore after you've shared it. If that makes me a bad person, I'm sorry. But that goes the same for here. You have an opinion. You are on the front line. You are valuable. If you don't speak, your value is not seen or heard. So you got your homework. I want you to do that. You also have, what comes on every single Friday. You have 2 pieces every Friday. You do your declaration, you do your discovery stack. So your discovery stack, you're going back through what you've talked about on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today. What have you learned? What is your takeaway? What have you changed? What have you shifted? What do you hate? What do you love? Just a brain dump. Like these discovery stacks become 6 discovery stacks for you to go look back and say, all right, there was a detail that I maybe forgot about in week 2 that I can now go and apply post challenge. I'm not going to be here forever reminding you of shit. Maybe I will. That'd be fun. But it's more about you. So discovery stack, you share it out. You send that link to whoever it goes to. And your declaration form. Showcase your system. What is it? Over 10 days, 10 business days. What's your follow-up system for someone that you quoted and you are not closing today? What is the specifics that you do on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? It doesn't have to be every day. Like there may be a day that you skip. I'm just asking what yours is so you can then share it and your agency owner or manager can see what you're doing every single time. And maybe they're like, all right, that's good. Or maybe that's overkill. And they want you to have a little more efficiency and a little more time to yourself. But we don't know what we don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, and nothing is true until we see it. So knock that thing out, and then we'll see you for week 4, and we're moving on.